Hey everyone, what's up? Sorry that I'm not showcasing a build video for today because I haven't necessarily been grinding out Monster Hunter as much as I want to. I've been really occupied with other games and been really enjoying them. I've been playing a lot of Tower Fantasy along with Xenoblade 3s. It is also quite hard for me to kind of put in quality build sets because I do want to give much convenient build sets for anyone to use whenever I post a build showcase for you guys. Again, my apologies. I'm not sure how I'm going to actually approach these certain builds, but hopefully it will come soon. Maybe. I do hope. I do have some in plan, but yeah. I want to talk about actually something for today, which is a discussion, which is about a certain topic within the Monster Hunter community. This topic sort of sparked up literally around last week, so I am sort of late to this, but I was very interested on this topic because I saw some tweets from last week that, you know, made me want to make this video and give in my 2 cents of the matter. So it all started when I saw some tweets coming from one of my favorite content creators, but especially when it comes to Monster Hunter. His name is Rurikon. I've been watching him since Monster Hunter World because he did like guide videos and all that, and Monster Hunter World was one of my first Monster Hunter games that I ever played. And again, I love his content. I recommend you guys check him out. He makes great quality videos. I also want to put this as well. This is no shade towards him whatsoever. I literally respect him of his opinions, and I want everyone to do as well. Let's just have a whole civil discussion because I'm really not trying to start like a whole war or spark up some flames. Honestly, I'm just giving my own opinion on this because I thought this was a interesting topic to really discuss with others, and that's why I did that whole poll. I guess like a few days ago, talking about like, hey, do you guys enjoy the Qurious Crafting system, the new Augment system? Like, how's it with you guys? And honestly, majority from the poll or the votes, a lot of people put thumbs up more than the thumbs down. Rurikon did like this quote tweet because this tweet showed a screenshot coming from Nexus Mods that already there's a cheat or a mod that gives like a guaranteed stats or skills, certain skills for the new Augment system, the new Qurious Crafting system, which literally is just purely RNG if you don't have the mods whatsoever. So that's why people have these cheats so that they could just get their guaranteed rolls for their upgrades. I found it a little bit like surprising that Rurikon said this, which he said, to be honest, I dislike the feature so much that I can't even blame anyone who does it. The chances of you getting something useful are astronomical. And the reason why I found it surprising, and if you honestly been following his videos for quite some time, how I see him, this is just me though, this is my perspective on stuff, or on him, is he is a purist when it comes to games. So I found it very surprising that he was encouraging these certain cheats. But at the same time, I understand where he's coming from, because personally for me, anything involving RNG in video games, it honestly sucks because it's literally a 50-50. It's gonna give a great experience or literally a whole bad experience. Here's my opinion when it comes to the Qurious Crafting system. How I see it overall is just quite a bonus to our build sets. It's just something that we can use. I don't feel that augmentations are really a necessity. They're just more so, again, a bonus to have. Because with base Sunbreak, and again guys, I know I sort of, again, crafted some of my weapons, but they barely gave me like good rolls or skills. But with base Sunbreak, like, you're able to have so many great skills when you have these certain mixed sets. I mean, I've seen crazier builds than what I have right now, and I also have so much variations of the longsword itself, like with so many other mixed armor sets to have. Like, this is probably one of my favorite variations I made for the longsword, but I have made probably over 5 variations of just using 1 or 2 of the same weapons for these certain sets. The variations or the amount of things that you can do with the armor sets, these builds, is crazy. And I never made that much of these sets before. in my life, honestly, because again, there's just so much that you could approach these certain builds, and having the augment systems is more so like a cherry on top. Like, it's just, again, a bonus to the builds. It's funny too, because this was also a complaint when Sunbreak released. I saw already like a few comments saying that some people feel very overpowered with the mixed armor sets they have because of the how many skills are stacked up, and how many, just literally just how much skills they have in one armor set, and they felt iffy about it. And now we're here, we're kind of backtracking to the point where some people within the community are complaining. I'm not saying that Rurikon is complaining, I'm just speaking like in general overall. Literally, people are like complaining or criticizing the new system of not having like guaranteed skills or stats. As of right now, like, I don't think the augments are a necessity, because I came into these new monsters without any augmentations whatsoever. When I first started the new update, I didn't even augment anything. I didn't even start the Qurious Crafting until I literally slayed every single new monster. So I came in having no augmentations. Every single fight felt normal, honestly, just like a regular hunt. And they didn't take like 40 minutes to slay or whatever. It's not like they had big health. They literally had maybe they had slightly or a bit more health than usual compared to the like the base game Sunbreak monsters, but I had regular times on it. It took me 10 to 20 minutes to slay them, just like how I went through my first playthrough of Sunbreak. There wasn't a big difference, or really I didn't feel that I was underpowered whatsoever. So I just find it very contradicting that people are complaining that they don't have guaranteed augmentations, while at the other hand, people were complaining of how the game is easy because of how overpowered you can be. And again, this is just I see this as a whole bonus, because look, I'll show you my augmentations, and they even sort of balance the Qurious Crafting system, because how it works is that when the chances of the lower rarity armor, they're gonna have better skills, so it gives more incentive to use the lower rarity armor sets or pieces, and it also balances out to keep up with the higher rarity armor sets. I feel like it's just a good life quality to the game that just puts in much more balance, so anyone could literally use anything as much as they want to. And I feel like it's honestly a healthy balance to the game, because again, this is more so looked as a bonus. So for example, I have a rarity 9 Kaiser Crown X, right? I'm gonna augment it, and just to show like its stats and like what I could potentially get. And again, it's only 4,000 Zenny, and honestly, you make a lot of Zenny in this game. And here's the thing, like, see, right now, what's cool about like these sets or like the augment system, the current one I have, the Kaiser Crown originally only had 3 level 1 decoration slots. When I did an augmentation on it, one of the slots literally upgraded to a level 3 decoration slot, which is very clutch. But again, you know, there's some pros and cons. Like right now, they took away my critical eye, so I felt, you know, obligated to, you know, just put back a critical eye jewel in there. But yeah, as we see here, they give you just bonuses, list of skills, like recovery speed is honestly, it could be decent. It gives you defense, thunder resistance. It really depends on the situation. And this isn't necessarily a useless system, because some people generally feel like that. But again, this is just more so a cherry on top to the whole building, because at its base, or at its core, when it comes to building these certain armor sets, you're still in much control. It's not like from the get-go where you're literally having every skill randomized for you in your armor sets. No, it's not like that whatsoever. But again, I can understand why it's an issue, but with the amount of variation of builds that you can do, it's not like we're limited whatsoever. It's hard for me to really disagree on this whole augment system, especially with this whole game. Its design philosophy is based off, you know, having much more dynamic or random or having variations of encounters in these certain hunts. I talked about this in my critique, like having even a dongo itself along with a talisman that, like for example, with this new dongo system. Okay, so I was looking back at my footage, and the reason why I cut myself off right now, guys, is because my commentary didn't make much sense, so this is much more of a revision on what I was about to explain. But, so, what I said from my critique is that how I like, actually, you know, with the whole dongo system is that, you know, especially if you do use the new dongo system, they kind of determine your hunts very slightly. They give variations to it, right? Keep that in mind. And with the whole dongo system, obviously you're able to control the RNG by simply using a dongo ticket. And typically when I use my dongo ticket, these are the guaranteed stuff I get. But sometimes I never get dongo fighter because it is on a 90% activation skill, and dongo fighter is a very important skill to have because it reduces stamina depletion from evading, blocking, or other actions. It's very important to not just me, but pretty sure others who really rely on, because some of the weapons really rely on the stamina bar. So it is such a very important skill. So sometimes I don't have it, even if I use a dongo ticket, and that puts me, like, even though I don't necessarily notice it, but it puts me in a situation in these certain quests or hunts where it could sort of affect how the way I play. And again, it gives the variations on what you can do throughout these hunts, and it makes you play on what you have. What can you do? What can you adapt to in order to succeed despite the odds being against you? I think ever since Monster Hunter World, I can't speak on the OG titles, but ever since World, that's pretty much how it is. How would you adapt to your hunts in order for your hunt to succeed, right? And again, food in Monster Hunter, or at least with the modern Monster Hunter games, they're kind of important to have because not only they give buffs, but they also determine the skills you'll have that will be very important. Whether it's an attack boost or reduces stamina, whatever. And as you see here, as I turn on the new dongo system, now dongo fighter is even on a lower activation chance to have, literally on 70%, despite it being, you know, on it being on level 4 and having a better buff compared to the other two dongos. There's still much more risk involved and RNG, right? And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that the game is designed, its design philosophy for this whole game, at least, let's just talk about Rise for now. I'm not even going to go into World, but on how you're going to play your cards right, on how can you manage to go through these hunts with the provided equipment or weapons, the gear you have. I think, honestly, despite how many people could disagree on the RNG stuff, including myself, you know, I am still iffy on the RNG. I think it's important to also realize that this game, again, it's really meant for you to really work on what you have. What I noticed in my Sunbreak playthrough, in my first playthrough, going through my first encounters and quests of these new monsters, is that even though I don't have the armor, the equipment, the skills that I really wanted, I was really doing my best and also noticing how I was still able to work with what I have, because with the variations of equipment or like certain gear, and that really made these quests, these hunts, much more fun to me, because a lot more stuff was on the line. I felt more strategic. I felt that I wasn't mindlessly making weapons for the hell of it. I was very careful since I was also very limited on what I was making. And again, it's just all part of the game's design on what you have to work with and what can you do to either improve it or what can you do to it to literally succeed for your hunt. I think literally when it comes to like Monster Hunter as a franchise, it's literally about trial and error. There's a lot of stuff you have to learn in the Monster Hunter series. I think we've grown so much as a whole community. Like, Monster Hunter has come a long way, and I did try some of the OG games and I see much of a big difference. And what I know from the OG games is that there's a lot of learning to do and knowing what you have to really work with. And again, I know a lot of people miss the OG games, and I know this is a whole modern game, and you could honestly argue whether the modern Monster Hunter games is easy or not. I think it still kind of brings that core philosophy of what they always had, which is working what you got and what can you do in order to like survive throughout these hunts. I know a lot of people always want to literally max out their builds soon as possible. It's always fun like that, but I don't think the game is necessarily always about maxing out your builds. And I know to some people as well, someone tweeted that game has to come to an end. The game has to be, it doesn't have to be never ending. And I obviously agree with that. But for those who consider maxing out your builds as part of like literally the end game or literally the way to end your playthrough of Monster Hunter, I don't think that's necessarily the way. I think when you complete all story quests and slay all monsters, I think that's honestly how you truly end with Monster Hunter. What will actually happen when you max out your builds? What will happen next? Pretty much nothing, other than you're literally the strongest hunter in your area. That's it. There's really nothing else other than gameplay advantages, but by the time you head there, you're literally done with the game because you pretty much completed every single quest or you slayed every monster you can. So that's pretty much my opinion when it comes to this whole discussion. Let's just go here one more time. As much as people don't like this whole new system of the augments, look at that. You literally, if I were able to upgrade, you would literally have much more defense. Yes, it takes away my attack boost, right? But it's purely an option. And again, it's not like the newer monsters are incredibly powerful, right? I was still able to slay him normally. I only see this as an issue when the augment system starts to be very, or when the player starts to be very reliant on this new augment system. And that would only happen when the monsters start to be incredibly OP. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, and especially in the future updates. So far, the way they've been balancing their game has been, I wouldn't say perfect, but it's been great so far. Let me know how you guys feel about this. I want to know your guys' opinions. Let's be civil as well. I'm not trying to start a war with anyone. I just simply want to know, like, what's the big issue with some people when it comes to this. I hope everyone has a good day. Dropping a like would help a lot. And subscribe for more Monster Hunter content. We'll see you guys soon. I'm excited for the next update.